Stuart Broad retires. It's the end of the Ashes Test series. India is still struggling to find that perfect number 4 spot in the batting lineup, and it's only 10 weeks to go till the start of the World Cup. I also catch up with a really good friend of mine, so stay tuned.
Watching a very high-class player.
This is when you know AB de Villiers is at his best.
It's time for this week's 360 show, presented by Fairplay. Stuart Broad retired. What an amazing career. Over 600 test wickets, and I can tell you now, most of them were really crucial wickets at the right time of the game. Game-changing spells by him more often than not. He can be very proud. I know his family was there at the Oval for that final test match of the Ashes, where England gave him sort of a fairy tale finish, and he got that final test wicket as well. Incredible career. He can be very proud. Credit where credit is due. He's an amazing competitor, and I always felt like he was a big rival to play against. We caught him in the presser, saying a few words. He believes he finished on the top of his game, and it's always a privilege and an honour for any sportsman to finish when you're really playing the best cricket or best sport at the time. So let's hear from Stuart Broad.
I feel great, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I've probably been thinking for a couple of weeks, and you know, even up until last night, I was still just sort of sat in my room, umming and erring, and speaking to Molly, and I just 8:30, I just text Stokesy saying, "Can I come see you?" And walked in, shook his hand, and said, "That's me." I knew deep down that I wanted to finish playing cricket at the very top. And part of me wanted to know that I could still do it when I eventually stopped. I'm stopping. So I think I've had a love affair with the Ashes my whole life, and the thought of being able to bowl my last ball and face my last ball versus Australia is something that fills me with joy. So that's come to fruition, and ultimately I set myself a goal in April that I'd be available for the captain, or try and be fit and available for the captain for 5 Ashes Test matches, and to play all of them is just a really special feeling, and to be a part of them. And it's been the most enjoyable series, the most entertaining series, the most edge-of-the-seat series that I can remember. I think the competitiveness of what Australia bring to cricket brings out the best in me. I love that eye-to-eye battle. I love the energy the crowd brings, and the battle and the rivalry that the crowd brings to it. And you know, I think I know my emotions have to be sky high for me to be a good bowler, and my competitive spirit has to be sky high for me to be a good bowler.
Yeah, so there we are from Stuart Broad. Incredible memories of him playing cricket. As I mentioned before, I always enjoyed the rivalry between the two of us. He's a huge competitor. He loved being in the big moments, very similar to someone like Andrew Flintoff, who I always respected as well as a bowler. Just when the heat is on, when the crowd and your teammates and everyone needs you to do something special, a guy like Andrew Flintoff always stepped up. And I always felt that Stuart Broad had this, and it's possibly his biggest strength throughout his cricketing career, is being able to step things up when it mattered most for him and his team. And I know all your followers around the world have really enjoyed every second of watching you play. Congratulations. So the last few weeks we've been talking about Stuart Broad, James Anderson, the Ashes, controversies, and all sorts of cricketing stuff happening around the world. But then I thought it's maybe time to catch up with a really good friend of mine, and none other than Dale Steyn. Let me give him a shout and just get him on there quickly. Hello, you there? Can you please jump on, bud? It'd be nice to hear your voice. Just give me 2 seconds. Let me get you on the screen here. There you go. Thanks, bud. Julio, thanks for joining us. It's great to have you on the 360 show. I haven't seen you for ages. It's great to see you face, my friend, and I hope you've been doing well. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Abbas. Yeah, it's been a while. I think the last time I saw you was at your golf day, and I don't play golf, so yeah, pretty good to see you.
Sure. So if you hear Dale Steyn say that he doesn't play golf, he actually just steals people's money on the golf course. He's the most dangerous golfer. He pretends like he doesn't have a handicap. He rocks up and he just steals money off of you. So don't play golf with Dale Steyn. In fact, if I ever play golf with you again. You'll be on my team, and I won't be playing against you.
I'm happy with that.
Listen, Dale, talking about Broad and Anderson, have you been watching Ashes at all? You must have seen the result at least. Just your thoughts around the brutality of this incredible series, all the controversies, and the result. Australia obviously retaining the Ashes, but England having the final say there and sort of walking away with a bit of a grin on their faces. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was. I did watch. I won't lie that I sat most nights and I went onto YouTube and watched the highlights. I wouldn't really sit and watch the games, but I did watch the highlights just to keep up to date with what was going on. And I thought it was really entertaining to watch. I love the way the aggression that England played with. Australia were just like in traditional Australian way. They were kind of like their normal thing. In some ways, a little bit defensive. I'm just like spitballing here as I'm talking, but I did like the way that England are going about the way that they're playing their cricket. I find that there's a lot of I just every time I went to the highlights and I would watch the highlights, I'd be like, wow, there's a third man, or there's a guy at like deep point, or there's a leg slip, or there was all these really interesting field changes, and field positions, which is
even a backstop at times.
Even a backstop at times, stuff like this, which is for me is so exciting, because when I watch as a coach now, like I'm coaching, how's that? Okay, I'm coaching, but I watch like some cricketers, and I do. All my coaching is T20 cricket, and you watch these guys, they hardly ever change their fields, these young bowlers. And I think they're just a little bit like kind of scared or something. And I don't know if any of them would have watched the series, but if they watch the series, I think it will give you a lot of like confidence to change your field. And if you have that gut feel of having a guy in a specific place because you think it's going to work, then you should do it, And that was like a big take out of it for me at the end of the day. Yeah, Ashes cricket's great and blah, 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 blah. I'm South African, so it doesn't really bother me. But like for cricket, I took that out, and I'm like, I hope people watch that. Like, I really hope that people took like some kind of acknowledgement to you can play this game differently.
I think it's absolutely genius as it happened. I think my initial thoughts were like, what's going on here? Lots of short pitch stuff. Look at this crazy field. And then I thought to myself, hold on, let me put myself in the batter's shoes. Where do you go if you face 6 short deliveries at a very big pace and there are catches everywhere? And I was always really good on the short ball, but I know for a fact there's no ways I could control 6 in a row if I take it on. One of them will, go up somewhere or be sort of half airborne-ish. And I think that's the thinking behind it. You get the right field placings. There's absolutely nowhere to go for the batter because you've got to keep scoring. You can't just stand there and duck and dive the whole day. So it's absolutely genius, and I thought they really took the game forward with that game plan. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Wagner has been doing it for a while now. It's kind of like the way that he does it, but I think he's one exception. He's one bowler, whereas this is a whole team, like a whole team buy-in. And just the incredibly strange field placements. I was blown away by that. I was just like, wow. And then I read one or two things about like how quickly Zach Crawley had scored his runs versus like other players in the past in Ashes. I was like, that's pretty cool too. So a lot to take out of it, and I think a lot of the young players, like they can look at like the little finer things and they can really steal something and add it to their modern game. Yeah.
You're not supposed to like guys who compete against you and who are very good at what they do. No one likes Novak Djokovic. Why? Because he keeps winning.
No, exactly.
I never enjoyed Brody because he was competitive. He was always asking questions of me. He got me out a few times, and then there's that rivalry,
Absolutely.
And I'm not supposed to like him, but if I have a beer with him, I'm going to chat about life and we'll have a laugh. Yeah. But anyway, what an incredible career, and I mean, he can be very proud. I know his dad and his family, everyone were there. They're all obviously very proud. I didn't see it coming, Dalo, to be honest. The first few years I watched him play, I thought, okay, it's not bad. But there's definitely not like legendary status here, and he achieved that. So congrats to him and his family and everyone out there. And I think you will agree with that as well.
No, totally. Actually, I thought Anderson might pull the plug before Brody, to be fair. But both of them are just, I mean, together, those two guys have held up English cricket for so long, And I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what his plans are. But yeah, retiring from the game that you love it's hard, eh? Like it's not a decision you make some overnight, you know. So yeah, well done to him. There's a lot of wickets between those two, a lot of test wickets.
Hello, the fact of the matter is, my friend, they were two unbelievable bowlers. But I'm afraid to say you were better. So just you're going to have to deal with that. And everyone listening, it is what it is. Go pull up Dale Steyn's stats. I think 90 odd test matches, 400 and something wickets. Average, I'm guessing 22, maybe 0.6. Strike rate 44. There's only one best bowler ever, and that's you. So congratulations with that. You officially the 360 shows best bowler of all time. Dalo, where to from now? What's ahead for the rest of the year? And any goals out there? You're just going to keep doing this coaching thing, a bit of commentating. What's ahead for you?
Yeah, I got a fishing trip planned now in 2 weeks to Brazil. I go to the Amazon. Abbas, you know what? I'm just ticking these things off. Like when I was younger, I used to watch ESPN and watch like guys catching all these fish all around the world, and we were lucky enough to make enough money in our careers that now I can actually pay for these trips. You know, so like I take my
Very
best
lucky.
mate, and yeah, we're very lucky, and I take my best mate, and we're just ticking off these places that we want to go to. But yeah, there's still some coaching involved. I don't think I've got anything left for the year regarding coaching, but I'm still part of Sunrisers, so we're in contact once every 2 weeks or something like that. Already talking about next year's IPL. Already starting to retain players for SEC for the SA20. So there's a lot of communication that happens there, and then obviously the World Cup is a big World Cup coming up in India,
Yeah.
and I might pop over there for some commentary. So yeah, I just kind of like staying involved and keeping busy, but yeah, trying to live life at the same time. You know, it's a hard juggle.
The beautiful, the beautiful thing of what you do is you get to do stuff that you love, and all these trips and fishing and surfing. But then you also do something you love by joining a cricket team here and there and actually adding value to people's lives. I think that's a big responsibility we have, because we've been so lucky to play this game of cricket, getting paid while we were doing that. And now you have an opportunity just to share your memories, your experiences with people. So you're ultimately enriching people's lives while doing things that you love and still getting to your fishing trips and everything else. I want to wish you all the very best with the trip. Have a lot of fun, and thank you so much for joining us. I know the audience would have absolutely loved this. You're a great friend, a great man, and still the best bowler to ever play this game. So well done, and keep well.
Thanks, Abbas. You're a legend. Cheers.
Thanks, bud. It's really good to hear from Dale Steyn. Seems like he's enjoying life, traveling the world, doing a bit of coaching here and there. He's a fantastic guy, I can tell you that. It's a friendship I will cherish forever. Let me quickly wrap up with the Ashes. As you can see here, it finished 2-2, but Australia retained the Ashes. It's a huge victory for them, even though they lost. Didn't lose the last two. There was a draw in between because of that rained-off session, which England were very upset about. But ultimately, 2-2. Australia started really, really well, and I think that's where England lost the series with that declaration, as we mentioned there with the Dale Steyn interview. And then there's a little tweet, let me rather say a quote here. If Stokesy messages me again, I'm going to delete it. Moeen Ali bows out of tests on a high. Very interesting. I don't know. There's a big series coming up in India, and he showed that he can still sort of carry the weight of that spinner, and we know what he's capable of with bat in hand. Just an incredible player. But ultimately, 2-2 in the Ashes series. What an entertaining series it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know you guys did. That's the end of another Ashes series. It was very entertaining. I know you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed every minute of it. With lots of ups and downs and a roller coaster ride. But until next year, there's huge cricket coming up. The World Cup is 10 weeks away. And let's have a look at the fixtures quickly over here. Lots of entertaining games. We start on the 5th of October. It's a nice little logo the ICC released here, always on top of things. 5th of October till the 19th of November. This week, we will be covering Team India. And look at that. There's the predicted squad by Wisdom, let me tell you. So it's not by me. Very interesting. We see Shreyas Iyer there and KL Rahul. So one of them to slot in at number 4 spot, I would say. Although we have on standby Sky, which is my pick, by the way. I love KL. I think he's been out of form. Surya Kumar Yadav, yes, The start to his ODI career, not ideal. But let me tell you, that guy can play. And if you give him a chance in the big moments here, starting against Australia in Chennai, and ultimately playing South Africa there as well. I will be there for that game in Kolkata. I absolutely can't wait to watch that live. But yeah, so the predicted squad for India in the 2023 World Cup, I would, however, say I would like to see that man in the lineup. Other than that, I think Team India looks really strong. You can go through the list here. The records are really good, and everyone pretty solid. It's just that number 4 spot. I've been really struggling with that, but my man is Sky. So those are my thoughts on Team India. Pretty good squad. I'm very happy with the names there. It's just that number 4 spot. And my number 4 spot is Sky. He's only played 6 matches. I know he's only scored 30 runs, but he hasn't been given an extended period of time to prove himself. We know he's got the talent and the skill, the mental capacity to really be this perfect number 4 for India. Now let's cover some of the venues. This week we're going to be covering the Chinnaswamy Stadium, my favorite. We start with the best. In Bengaluru, you see all the pictures there: Australia, Pakistan, England, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Pakistan, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, and right at the bottom, get your home team there, people. Go and support Team India playing in the Netherlands on the 11th of November. It's a beautiful city of Bangalore, so to all your tourists, make sure you fly there and go and experience the incredible atmosphere of the best stadium in India. It's called the Garden City. I absolutely love playing there for RCB over the years. Also played my 100th Test match there, which is a great memory for me, and I absolutely enjoy the people of Bangalore. There's some great food, a great vibe, busy streets, some golf courses, lots to do. About the ground, it's a beautiful, beautiful stadium with a great atmosphere. The wicket is pretty good, but the new ball bowlers will always have something to say about this small and quick scoring ground, because there's always a little bit of swing and movement off the pitch early on. So in the first 10 overs, have a look at how many wickets will go down in this World Cup. The fast bowlers will be in the game. After that, it gets pretty flat, and the spinners will be under pressure because they'll have to keep things together in those middle overs. But it's not so easy. The good batters will see an opportunity to sort of accelerate in the middle overs, and heading into the back end, it's free for all. If you're on fire as a batter on the day, if you've got momentum on your side, you can really take the game away from the opposition. That's enough about Bengaluru and the World Cup. There's a lot of excitement. It's only 10 weeks to go, and we absolutely can't wait to watch the World Cup, especially these games in Bangalore. Now let's move on to the quiz. Last week's quiz, I asked you guys who were my 2 Test wickets while I was bowling. I can tell you it was in 2005 in the West Indies, and I've got the clip for you guys, so let's have a look here. Little bit of reverse swing there. The first one was Darren Powell, and that's my first Test wicket. You can see how happy I was there. Never thought this will happen. I bowled 21 overs on the trot, so I was absolutely man down the following day. And my next wicket, I can tell you guys that next to me at mid-on, Sean Pollock was standing there, and he told me, well, Tino best, bowl the slow ball a little bit wider. But let's just have a look at the replay first. A little bit of reverse swing, as you can see there. Can you believe it? AB de Villiers has bowled a ball swinging in, reversing in, not just swinging in. Interesting, eh? And you saw Mark Boucher there at the back. He also got his first Test wicket that day, and I took the gloves. I think that's a world record. Never happened before. And there's that slower ball a bit wider. Sean Pollock told me to do that, and Herschel Gibbs was under it, making no mistake. And there I walked off with 2 Test wickets. Can you believe it? Now let's move on to this week's quiz then. It's about Stuart Broad. How many times has Stuart Broad dismissed me? 10 times. It hurts me to say that, but the question is, how many times did he bowl me? Subscribe your answers down below in the descriptions box, and I hope you get it right. Now this week in ABReacts, I pulled up a few tweets that I found interesting. The first one is of Usman Khawaja. Let's hear what he's got to say here. We all know about that controversial ball change in the final Test match. The Aussies were very upset. It's happened many times to me before. I know how upsetting that can be, but there's nothing you can do about it. But anyway, let's hear what he's got to say.
Yeah, I mean, I walked straight up to Kumar straight away. I said that ball is nothing like the one we've been playing with. I mean, I could see writing on it. It felt harder than any ball I faced throughout this whole Ashes series, to be honest. And I've opened the batting against a new ball every single time, and it's just hit my bat so hard. I know Woody was bowling, but I faced Woody before, so I said, you've gone from an old reversing ball to a brand new ball. Looked like it was about 8 overs old, swinging conventionally and hitting the bat hard. A bit frustrating as a batting unit because we worked our backsides off for 35, 36 overs or whatever it was when they changed the ball. As an opener, you work so hard to get through there, and then you're facing a new ball again. Well, that ball was 95 overs into it. It was still swinging, hooping, bouncing. So unfortunately, that's the hand you get dealt sometimes in cricket. It may not feel fair, but hopefully there's some learnings out of it, and hopefully, I guess the ICC can look at it and try to improve that ball changing process.
Interesting take there from Khawaja. There's absolutely no doubt that that ball was newer than the one used before, but these things happen. It's up to the umpires to decide, and these are things you can't control. Very similar to the weather washing out the final session in the test match before, and the English were so upset about it. There's nothing you can do about it, people. That's the first rule of cricket. That's the first thing I learned. Control what you can control and worry about what you can control, Don't worry about things you can't control. You can't control the weather. You can't control an umpire making a decision, and to the best of his ability. It is what it is. There was lots of complaining. The funny thing is the complaining always happens after a loss. You never see a winning team complaining. I always find that very interesting. But yes, Khawaja wasn't wrong. But just say, you know what, it was unfortunate. Unlucky for us, we move on. Anyway, next tweet, Sachin Tendulkar, my favourite. From being 2-0 down to drawing level, England's tenacity in this Ashes series is a tribute to the beauty of Test cricket. I absolutely love that. And yes, Mother Nature denied us a result, but it didn't dampen the spirit of this incredible game. A series to remember for a long, long time, and Sachin is 100% spot on. What I like about this tweet is he's just a level-headed guy who always loves the beauty of the game. And I saw the same thing, and that's why it irritates me so much that people are whining and complaining. Just love it for what it is. It's 2-2. Yes, Australia retained the Ashes, but what an incredible series, and a series that moved the game of cricket forward. That's what we want. We want the game to grow and get to more places and become better and more entertaining. That's what we're about. 2-2, great Ashes series. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so there's the Khawaja thing. You can clearly see that, my friends. That's not in the same state as that one. Let's move on. We covered that. This is just a thought for the week I want to leave you guys with. Last but certainly not least, on ABReacts for this week, I'm leaving you with a very sentimental one that I really enjoyed reading, from Billy Oppenheimer, and I want you to go and read through this whole thing. It's a long story. It's got to do with Tom Hanks. We all know Tom Hanks. He's absolute legend in Hollywood. I've watched all his movies. He's an incredible actor, but his story is very interesting, and I can relate, and I think you guys might be able to relate as well. He almost didn't become an actor. He stopped acting, got a different job, until a friend, by chance, visited him and told him, listen, why aren't you acting? What are you doing? Tom Hanks then signed up days later for a drama class at a community college, and we know the rest is history. He ended up being one of the best actors of all time. There's incredible learning from this, people. On the right-hand side, you see takeaway one. The psychologists actually call it self-assessment biases. In Tom Hanks' case, it was vice versa to the one at the top. Highly talented people tend to underestimate and take for granted what comes naturally to them. And then move on to takeaway two. I want you to read at the bottom here. For anyone trying to discern what to do with their life, pay attention to what you pay attention to. That's pretty much all the info you need. And on the right-hand side, it says, reconnect with your childhood obsession. You are obsessed with it as a child for a reason. Reconnect with it. So unbelievably important this. I want you guys to take it in. If you're doing something that you don't love doing, reconnect with the things that you love doing, because that's the way you're going to be happy, and that's the way you're going to change this world and be successful. Ultimately, if your heart's full, if you're passionate about what you do and you're happy, you're going to be a successful person who are driven, purposely driven to make this world a better place. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. You got to go and do what you love. I almost didn't do what I love. At school, people told me I need to have a degree, otherwise I'll never be successful in life. Ultimately, when I was 17, 18, I decided not to go into heavy studying. I always wanted to be a doctor like my dad, but I turned a blind eye to that, and I
decided to do sports for a living, which was against all the advice I got, but I followed my heart, and I want you to do the same. Go and read this Billy Oppenheimer tweet when you have some time. It might just change your life. I hope you enjoyed this week's 360 show. Until next week.